Okay, let's dive right in. We're tackling one of the most mysterious and honestly one of the wildest visions in all of ancient literature, chapter 4 of the book of Revelation. For centuries, this chapter has just completely baffled people. But what if I told you there's actually a key, a code that unlocks its meaning?
So the author, a man named John, he says he looks through an open door into heaven, and the scene he describes is just mind-bending. You've got this central throne, a sea made of glass that looks like crystal, flashes of lightning, and then there are these four bizarre living creatures that are just covered in eyes.
I mean, to us, this sounds like something straight out of a surrealist painting, right? Or maybe some kind of wild psychedelic dream. So what on earth is he talking about? Is this just a bunch of random, weird imagery that's supposed to be confusing? Or is there a logic to it? A kind of hidden code that, if you can crack it, makes the whole thing just click?
So before we even start decoding anything, let's just take a second to absorb the scene. We really need to appreciate the sheer intensity and, frankly, the strangeness of what John is describing here in this vision of God's throne room.
Okay, so you have this throne at the center of everything, kind of like the command center of the universe, and it's pulsating with the energy of a thunderstorm. Then you have these four incredible beings. Each one is like a mashup of different animals. They have 6 wings, and they're covered head to toe in eyes. Now, here's the thing. As totally alien as this sounds to us, none of this was actually new to John or his first readers.
And that right there, that's the secret. The key to this whole vision isn't about trying to predict the future. It's all about looking into the past. See, John isn't just inventing this stuff out of thin air. He's working from a very specific blueprint.
This entire scene he's painting is a classic picture of what scholars call the divine council. You can think of it like a heavenly throne room or a cosmic courtroom. And this idea of God on his throne, surrounded by this assembly of heavenly beings, well, that was a really common and familiar idea in ancient Jewish scripture.
So here's the most important thing to get. John is acting like a master DJ. He's taking all these powerful images and themes from the scriptures his audience already knew and loved, the Hebrew Bible, and he's sampling them, remixing them to create a brand new composition with a really powerful message for his own time. And he pulls directly from these 4 heavy hitters. You've got the whole courtroom setting from the book of Daniel, the super strange creatures from Ezekiel, the throne guardians from Isaiah, and the whole thunderstorm vibe from the story of Mount Sinai. So let's see how he puts it all together.
Right? So once you know which blueprints John is using, you can literally put them side by side with his vision. And when you do that, the code, well, it starts to become crystal clear.
Take the voice that sounds like a trumpet. That's not just a random poetic detail. John is intentionally echoing the story of God coming down on Mount Sinai, where his arrival was announced by this deafening trumpet blast. For anyone reading this in the first century, that sound instantly meant one thing: divine authority. A major announcement was about to be made. And he does the exact same thing with the creatures. It's so cool. He takes the 4 specific faces, the lion, the ox, the man, and the eagle, straight out of the prophet Ezekiel's vision of these beings called cherubim. But then he gives them the 6 wings from the prophet Isaiah's vision of different beings called seraphim. He's smashing these 2 powerful images of heavenly guardians together to create one ultimate hybrid being.
But this very deliberate blending of his sources, it's not just him being clever. No, it's all pointing to the most stunning part of the entire vision. And it's what unlocks the final message he's trying to get across.
Okay, this is it. This is the detail that trips everybody up. What in the world could creatures full of eyes possibly mean? But again, the answer isn't in some future prediction. It's found by looking back at the original language and the context of John's main source, the book of Ezekiel.
This is basically the Rosetta Stone for the whole vision. In the original Hebrew text of Ezekiel, the word eyeing can mean eyes, but it can also mean the sparkle or gleam of polished metal. John's first readers would have known this text, and they would have immediately gotten the wordplay, that these eyes had something to do with sparkling.
So, what sparkles in the heavens? Stars, of course. In the ancient world, stars were often called the eyes of the night, and a constellation, a group of stars that forms the image of a living creature, was literally described as being full of eyes.
So, you put it all together. The prophet Ezekiel, when he was living in exile in Babylon, he took the imagery of the Babylonian zodiac, the lion, the bull, the man, the eagle, and used it to make this incredibly bold claim. He was saying that Yahweh,
the God of Israel, is the real king of the cosmos. He's the one who controls the stars and the seasons and all of history, not the gods of Babylon. And John? John borrows that exact same code for his vision.
So this wasn't just some mystical vision of heaven. It was a powerful political and theological statement. For John's audience, who were facing intense persecution from the Roman Empire, this message was absolutely electric. He was declaring that the God of the Bible, not the Roman emperor, not the pagan gods, is the one who is truly on the throne of the universe, in complete and total control of everything.
And once you see how John so masterfully weaves together these ancient texts, it just completely changes how you read this incredible and, let's face it, often misunderstood book.
Suddenly, you realize Revelation isn't just some secret roadmap trying to predict the end of the world. It's this profound piece of theology, and it's deeply, deeply rooted in Scripture. It's really a message of hope encoded in the symbols of the past, designed to remind its readers not just about what might happen in the future, but about who is in sovereign control no matter what happens. It's a vision meant to inspire courage, not fear.